The massive doors of the Galactic Military Academy slid open with a soft hiss. 4 humans stood in the entrance, their eyes wide as they took in the grand hall filled with aliens from across the galaxy. Tall, blue-skinned beings floated past. 6 armed warriors practiced combat moves in a corner. Small creatures with huge eyes darted between groups, carrying digital tablets. "They're all staring at us," whispered Jack, the tallest of the humans. His short brown hair was cut to military standards, and his green eyes scanned the room cautiously. "We're from Earth. What did you expect?" Lisa replied. Her dark skin contrasted with her white uniform, and her quick mind had earned her top marks in strategy back home. Marcus, with his sturdy build and steady hands, nudged Jack. "Remember what our briefing said. Earth is a Class 12 death world. To them, we're monsters who survived an impossible planet." The 4th human, Kira, remained quiet. Her red hair was tied back tightly, and her eyes missed nothing. She had been a biology student before joining the military program that brought them here. A tall alien with purple skin and 4 arms approached them. He wore the gold bands of an academy instructor. "Humans," he said, his voice translator making the word sound like an insult. "I am Commander Drez. You will follow me." The humans grabbed their bags and followed Drez through hallways filled with technology beyond Earth's capabilities. Other cadets moved aside, some making strange gestures that might have been their species' version of crossing themselves for protection. "Is it true humans drink poison for fun?" asked a small green cadet who floated beside them for a moment. "If you mean coffee and alcohol, then yes," Jack answered with a smile. The green alien made a horrified sound and zoomed away. Commander Drez led them to a large training room where cadets from 20 different worlds had gathered. "Today begins combat assessment," he announced. "Each species will demonstrate their natural abilities." First came the Avarians, bird-like beings who flew through obstacle courses with amazing speed. Next were the Mindari, who could move objects with their thoughts. Then the Craxians displayed strength by bending metal bars. When the humans' turn came, they stood awkwardly in the center of the room. "What can humans do?" asked a snake-like cadet, its forked tongue flicking out. "We adapt," Marcus said simply. The aliens laughed, a strange mix of clicks, whistles, and rumbles. Commander Drez activated a simulation. The room transformed into a battlefield with explosions and obstacles. "Begin," he ordered. The 4 humans moved with surprising speed and coordination. They didn't fly or read minds, but they worked together perfectly. When fire blocked their path, they found ways around it. When enemies appeared, they used the environment as weapons. In the control room, Academy officials watched with interest. "Fascinating," said Dean Orcs, an ancient being with glowing eyes. "No special abilities, yet they compensate with problem-solving and teamwork." "They're from a death world," replied another official. "Their planet tried to kill them daily for millions of years. They survived because they think differently." Down in the simulation, the humans finished the course. Their time wasn't the fastest, but they had the highest survival rate. As they caught their breath, a red alert sounded. The room's screen showed warships in the distance. "Attention all cadets," announced Dean Orcs. "The Dominion forces have increased their attacks in the Outer Rim. Your combat training will accelerate." The aliens looked worried. The war had raged for 30 years with no end in sight. Jack looked at his fellow humans and saw the same thought in their eyes. They had come to learn, but maybe, just maybe, they would teach the galaxy something instead. What no one realized was just how soon that teaching would happen. "Attention cadets," Commander Drez's voice boomed across the training field. "Today you will be sent to Nexus 6 for survival training. The planet is rated Class 6, moderate difficulty." The alien cadets groaned. A Class 6 planet was challenging for most galactic species, but the 4 humans exchanged small smiles. Earth was a Class 12. Compared to home, Nexus 6 would be like a vacation. The transport ship dropped them on a forested mountain. 20 cadets from 10 different species formed 5 teams. Jack, Lisa, Marcus, and Kira made up the human team. Your objective is to reach the extraction point in 3 days, explained the instructor through their communication devices. Each team has minimal supplies. As the ship disappeared into the clouds, the alien cadets began to complain. The gravity is too strong, moaned a tall, thin alien with blue skin. The air is too thick, wheezed another with gill-like structures on its neck. Kira checked their position on the map. The extraction point is 30 miles north, across those mountains. Let's move, said Jack. We can cover good ground before dark. The other team struggled with the environment, but the humans hiked steadily through the forest. What the aliens found difficult, the humans found pleasant. The temperature was mild, the gravity lighter than Earth's, and the air rich with oxygen. By sunset, the human team had covered twice the distance of any other group. They set up camp near a stream. This isn't so bad, Marcus said as he gathered wood for a fire. It's like camping in Colorado. Lisa nodded. But look at the sky. There's a storm coming. The night brought heavy rain and strong winds. The humans secured their shelter and stayed dry. Through their communications, they heard the other teams struggling. Morning revealed disaster. A meteor had struck the planet during the night, creating a massive crater between them and the extraction point. The communication system was damaged, leaving all teams isolated. This wasn't part of the training, Lisa said, studying the smoking crater. A distress call came through the static. Help, predators attacking, need assistance. It was one of the alien teams. Let's go, Jack said immediately. The humans grabbed their gear and ran toward the signal. They found 3 alien teams surrounded by large wolf-like creatures with 6 legs and razor teeth. The aliens had climbed trees, but the predators were slowly climbing up after them. We need to scare them off, Marcus said, looking around for weapons. Kira pointed to a red plant growing nearby. Those contain oil. They might burn well. Working quickly, Jack and Marcus made torches while Lisa fashioned spears from branches. Kira identified which plants could be used for medicine if anyone was injured. Armed with fire and spears, the humans charged at the predators, shouting and waving the flames. The creatures hesitated, then backed away from this new threat. In the Academy control room, the instructors watched in amazement. The simulation didn't include a meteor strike or predator attack, one said nervously. No, agreed Dean Orcs. The system malfunctioned. Those are real dangers. Should we extract them? Asked another instructor. Wait, said Dean Orcs, eyes fixed on the screen. Let's see what happens. Back on Nexus 6, the humans had organized the alien cadets into a defensive group. Jack showed them how to maintain the fire. Marcus taught them to use simple weapons. Lisa created a map of safe routes. Kira treated the injured with medicinal plants she had identified. How do you know all this? Asked an Avarian cadet with wing-like arms. On Earth, we learned survival skills as children, Jack explained. Our planet has more dangerous places than this. By nightfall, they had built a fortified camp. The predators kept their distance, watching the fire with wary eyes. In the control room, the instructors continued to observe. Remarkable, whispered Dean Orcs. Without special abilities, using only their minds and hands, they've ensured everyone's survival. Perhaps, said Commander Drez slowly, we have underestimated these Deathworlders. 2 weeks after the Nexus 6 training mission, alarms blared throughout the Galactic Academy. Students rushed to the main hall where the giant holographic display showed a terrifying sight. Hundreds of Dominion warships moving toward Federation space. It's the largest attack in 5 years, whispered an Avarian cadet, wings trembling. Dean Orcs stood on the central platform, his ancient face grim. Cadets, the war has escalated. All senior instructors and officers are being deployed to the front lines. Your training will continue under junior staff. Jack, Lisa, Marcus, and Kira sat together. watching the red dots of enemy ships spread across the map like a disease. They're using a new pattern, Lisa noted, her eyes tracking the movement. See how they've split into 3 groups. A blue-skinned instructor approached them. Humans, follow me. Dean Orcs wishes to speak with you. They were led to a secure room deep in the academy. Inside, the dean and several high-ranking officers studied battle plans. Ah, the Deathworlders, said Dean Orcs. Your performance on Nexus 6 was impressive. You saved 3 teams despite the real dangers. We just did what anyone would do, Jack said. An officer with gold markings laughed. No, human. What you consider normal, the galaxy finds extraordinary. Dean Orcs pointed to the holographic display. The war with the Dominion has raged for 30 years. Billions have died. Resources drained from 1,000 worlds. The display changed to show a dark, swirling mass that moved like a storm cloud but was made of tiny creatures. This is the Void Swarm, explained the Dean. The Dominion's most effective weapon. Biological organisms that devour everything in their path, controlled by Dominion commanders. Kira stepped closer, her biology background making her particularly interested. They're all identical. Clones. Yes, our scientists have tried for years to find a weakness, but the swarm adapts too quickly. Conventional weapons fail. Energy shields can't hold them back for long. Marcus studied the movements of the swarm. They move like army ants from Earth, but in 3 dimensions. The Dean continued, We're keeping all cadets away from combat zones. You represent the future of the Federation's defense forces. But sir, Jack began, if the situation is this serious. No arguments, interrupted an admiral. Especially not from untested cadets. As they were escorted back to their quarters, the humans remained silent, each lost in thought. 30 years, Lisa finally said when they were alone. The Federation has been fighting for 30 years with no solution. Did you notice how the swarm moved? Kira asked. Something about their biology seemed familiar. Marcus nodded. And their attack patterns. They reminded me of Earth tactics from our ancient wars. Jack paced the room. We're not allowed in combat, but nothing stops us from studying this Void Swarm. The Academy Library, Lisa suggested. It has the largest database in Federation space. If there's information about the swarm, it'll be there. That night, while most cadets slept fitfully, worried about the war, the 4 humans worked in the library. Lisa bypassed security protocols to access classified reports. Kira reviewed biological data. Marcus studied combat footage. Jack compiled their findings. As dawn approached, Kira suddenly straightened in her chair. Wait, look at this molecular structure. The others gathered around her screen. The swarm's outer shell, she explained, pointing at complex diagrams. It contains compounds very similar to something on Earth. Something common we never think about. And? Jack asked. Kira's eyes widened with realization. And I think I know how to kill them. All of them. At once. In orbit above them, another Federation outpost fell to the Dominion forces. The war was coming closer. And 4 human cadets had just found something that had eluded the greatest scientific minds in the galaxy for 3 decades. They just didn't know if anyone would listen to them. Say it again, but simpler, Jack said, rubbing his tired eyes. The 4 humans had been in their quarters for hours, discussing Kira's discovery. Kira pulled up images on her tablet. The Void Swarm has a shell made of a compound similar to calcium carbonate on Earth, but with one key difference. She pointed to a molecular diagram. This small part here makes them vulnerable to a common Earth substance. Which is? Marcus asked. Citric acid, Kira said, found in lemons, oranges, and many Earth fruits. To us, it's just sour. To the swarm, it would be like dissolving in acid. Lisa frowned. That can't be right. Something so simple would have been discovered years ago. Not necessarily, Kira replied. The Federation doesn't have citrus fruits. What's common on Earth might be rare or non-existent elsewhere. Jack paced the room. If you're right, we could end this war with lemon juice. Essentially, yes, Kira said. But we need to be sure. Marcus pulled up battle footage on his tablet. Look at the Federation's attack patterns. They always try to destroy the swarm with brute force or energy weapons, which never works, Lisa added. The swarm just splits and reforms. Exactly, Marcus said. But on Earth, we learned different ways to fight. Chemical warfare, biological agents. The Federation never tried because it's not how they think. Lisa turned to her computer. I can access more data, but I'll need to go deeper into restricted files. Her fingers flew over the keyboard, bypassing security protocols that would have stopped most Academy students. After several tense minutes, she smiled. I'm in. And look at this. She showed them a map of Dominion ship movements. They're gathering near the Talos system. Something big is happening. Jack studied the map. They're protecting something. That cluster of planets might be where they grow or create the swarm. For the next several hours, the humans analyzed data, tested theories, and built a plan. When morning came, they had dark circles under their eyes, but a spark of excitement. We need to test our theory, Kira said. I need a sample of the swarm. The Academy Science Wing might have specimens, Marcus suggested. Too risky, Jack replied. We'd need authorization. Lisa looked up from her tablet. What about asking other cadets for help? After Nexus 6, we made some friends. Later that day, they met with a small group of alien cadets in a quiet corner of the Academy grounds. There was Trill, an Avarian with beautiful golden wings. Dorn, a four-armed Craxian with stone-like skin. And Pyra, a telepathic Mindari whose skin glowed softly. You want to what? Trill asked after Jack explained their idea. Find a weakness in the Void Swarm, Jack repeated. We think we've discovered something important. Academy officials would never listen to cadets, Dorn said, crossing two of his forearms. Pyra's skin pulsed with light. But if they're right, it could save billions of lives. We need to test our theory, Kira explained, and we might need help getting a sample of the swarm. The alien cadets exchanged looks. What the humans suggested was risky, possibly against Academy rules. But the war had touched all their worlds. Everyone had lost someone. The science lab has specimens, Pyra finally said. I can help you get in. And I know how to fly a scout ship, Trill added. If you need to go somewhere. Dorn nodded his rocky head. My people are strong. I can help carry equipment. Jack smiled at their new allies. Thank you. But understand, this could get us all expelled from the Academy. If your theory works, Dorn said, we won't need the Academy because there won't be a war to fight. As they made plans, none of them noticed the small surveillance drone hovering nearby, or that someone high in the Academy ranks was watching their every move with great interest. The humans had found allies, but they had also gained attention. The question was, would that attention help or harm their mission to end the war? Is everyone clear on the plan? Jack asked, looking at each face in the small storage room where they had gathered. 7 cadets nodded back at him. The 4 humans plus their 3 alien allies. They had spent 2 days preparing, gathering supplies, and planning their unauthorized mission. Pyra got us access to a swarm sample, Jack continued. Kira confirmed her theory. The compound in citrus fruits destroys the swarm's outer shell. But a small sample isn't enough, Kira added. We need to test it on a larger scale. Trill, the Avarian cadet, spread her golden wings nervously. I've programmed the training vessel for launch. It's scheduled for a routine test flight in 30 minutes. And I've packed the supplies, Dorn said, his rocky skin catching the light, including the synthesized citric acid compound. Lisa looked up from her tablet. I've located a swarm breeding ground in the Talos system. It's lightly defended because the Dominion thinks it's a secret. Then let's move, Jack said. If we're caught, we'll all face expulsion from the Academy. The group moved through the Academy halls, trying to look casual. They reached the landing bay where a small training vessel waited. The ship was designed for practice flights, not for venturing into Dominion territory. Last chance to back out, Marcus told their alien friends. This isn't your fight. Pyra's skin glowed brightly. The war affects us all. We stand with you. They boarded the ship quickly. Trill took the pilot's seat, while Lisa connected her tablet to the navigation system. Bypassing launch protocols, Lisa whispered, her fingers flying over the screen. And we're clear. The ship rose smoothly from the bay and accelerated into the sky. On the Academy's main control deck, an alarm flashed. Sir, training vessel Epsilon 7 has departed without proper clearance, reported a junior officer. Admiral Vex, a tall figure with 6 eyes that blinked in sequence, studied the tracking data. Interesting. Where are they headed? Trajectory suggests the Talos system. Sir. The Admiral's eyes all blinked at once. The Talos system. That's near Dominion space. He paused, then added, continue monitoring, but take no action yet. But sir, protocol requires. I'm aware of protocol, Lieutenant. I'm choosing to ignore it temporarily. Aboard the small ship, the cadets prepared for their mission. Kira worked in the makeshift lab, refining the citric acid compound. Marcus and Dorn checked their limited weapons. We'll reach the edge of the Talos system in 6 hours. Trill announced from the pilot's seat. Jack joined Lisa at the navigation console. Any sign we're being followed? She shook her head. Nothing. Either they haven't noticed we're gone, or they're letting us go. That seems unlikely, Jack said with a frown. In the ship's small lab, Kira held up a vial of clear liquid. I've concentrated the compound. If my calculations are correct, 1 drop should neutralize a cubic meter of the swarm. And how much do we have? Asked Marcus. 20 liters, Kira replied. Enough to destroy a significant portion of a swarm cluster. As the ship traveled through space, tension grew. They were breaking multiple Academy rules. If they were wrong about the citric acid, they would die in Dominion territory. If they were right but caught, they might still face severe punishment. 6 hours later, Trill's voice came over the ship's communication system. We're approaching the Talos system. Sensors detect Dominion activity ahead. Everyone moved to the bridge. Through the view screen, they saw a small Dominion outpost orbiting a barren moon. Beyond it was their target, a cloudy planet where the void swarm was reportedly being bred. There's our target, Jack said, pointing to the cloudy world. And our chance to end this war. What they didn't know was that back at the Academy, Admiral Vex was watching their every move, and he wasn't the only one interested in their mission. Dominion patrol ship approaching. Trill warned, her feathers standing on edge as she piloted their vessel. They'll detect us in 2 minutes. High behind the moon, Jack ordered. We need a closer look at that planet without being spotted. The small training ship glided behind the barren moon, using its mass to shield them from Dominion sensors. Everyone gathered around the view screen as Lisa enhanced the image of the cloudy planet. Those dark patches, Kira said, pointing to swirling black areas visible through the clouds. That's the void swarm. They're breeding them in the atmosphere. Marcus studied the patterns. They released them from those stations. He pointed to small structures floating in the planet's upper atmosphere. Perfect delivery point for our compound. But we'll never get past their defenses, Dorn said, his rocky face creased with worry. Jack turned to Pyra. Can you sense any life forms on that small outpost station? He pointed to a satellite structure orbiting the planet. The Mindari closed her glowing eyes, extending her telepathic abilities. 2 guards, minimal security. They don't expect anyone to find this place. Jack nodded. Then that's our target. We land there, access their systems, and use their own delivery method to distribute our compound. A small team should go, Lisa suggested. The rest stay with the ship for quick escape. I'll go, Jack said immediately. Me too, added Marcus. I can handle the physical work. Pyra's skin glowed brighter. I'll come to detect guards. I need to finish preparing the compound, Kira said. I'll stay on the ship. The plan set. Jack, Marcus, and Pyra donned spacesuits. Their ship approached the small outpost carefully, docking at an emergency airlock that Lisa had remotely unlocked. Comms check. Jack's voice came through their helmet radios. Everyone hear me. Loud and clear, Lisa responded from the ship. You have 30 minutes before the next Dominion patrol. The 3 cadets entered the outpost. Following Pyra's telepathic directions, they avoided the 2 guards and reached the main control room. We're in, Marcus reported. Accessing their systems now. Jack connected a small device to the outpost's computer. Lisa, you're up. Back on the ship, Lisa's fingers flew across her tablet. I'm in their network. I can access the swarm delivery system. Perfect, Jack said. Kira, status on the compound. Kira held up a large container of clear liquid. Ready, but we need to load it into their system. There's a chemical input port in the control room, Lisa instructed. Northeast corner, red panel. Marcus found the panel and opened it, revealing a series of tubes and tanks. This must be how they feed the swarm. Jack carefully connected Kira's container to the input system. How do we make sure it reaches all of the swarm? Lisa studied the outpost's systems through her remote connection. They have atmospheric dispersal jets, designed to spread nutrients for the swarm throughout the planet's atmosphere. Can you activate them? Jack asked. Yes, but it'll alert the Dominion that something's happening. Jack looked at his team. Do it. We'll be ready to leave fast. Lisa activated the dispersal system. Immediately, warning lights flashed in the control room. The guards are moving toward you. Lisa warned. Get out now. The 3 cadets ran back toward their ship. Behind them, the outpost systems pumped Kira's citric acid compound into the dispersal jets, spreading it into the planet's atmosphere. Through the view screen, they watched as the dark patches in the clouds began to change. The swirling black masses that were the void swarm started to break apart, dissolving as the compound reached them. It's working, Kira exclaimed. The swarm is disintegrating. Alarms blared as Dominion ships appeared on their sensors. Trill piloted their ship away from the outpost, narrowly avoiding enemy fire. We've got company, she warned. Multiple Dominion vessels approaching. We got what we came for, Jack said, watching the view screen as more and more of the swarm dissolved. We have proof our solution works. Lisa's tablet beeped with an incoming message. Her eyes widened as she read it. It's from Admiral Vex at the Academy, she said in disbelief. He says, well done. Return immediately. Federation Council awaits your report. The cadets looked at each other in shock. Their unauthorized mission hadn't been so unauthorized after all. As they fled the Talos system, behind them an entire breeding ground of the Void Swarm, the Dominion's most powerful weapon, dissolved into harmless particles. The war was about to change forever. The Grand Hall of the Galactic Federation Council was filled to capacity. Representatives from 100 worlds sat in rising tiers around a central platform where 4 human cadets stood nervously. Cadets Jack, Lisa, Marcus, and Kira, announced the council president, a tall being with shimmering skin. You stand before this council having taken unauthorized action during wartime. The humans exchanged worried glances. Behind them sat Admiral Vex, his 6 eyes blinking calmly. However, continued the president, your actions have led to an extraordinary development. The massive screen behind them displayed images from across the galaxy. Everywhere, the Void Swarm was disintegrating. The citric acid compound had been deployed by Federation ships throughout space, targeting Dominion strongholds. In 3 days since your mission to the Talos system, the Dominion has lost 70% of its swarm forces, the president said. Their main weapon is failing. An older council member stood. Explain again how you discovered this solution. Kira stepped forward. On Earth, citric acid is common in many fruits. When I studied the swarm's molecular structure, I noticed similarities to calcium-based compounds on our world. The acid disrupts their shells, causing them to break down. So simple, muttered another council member. 30 years of war, billions dead, and the solution was fruit juice. Not exactly, Marcus explained. The concentrated compound is much stronger than juice. But yes, the basic substance exists naturally on Earth. That's why we never found it, said a Federation scientist. We have no citrus fruits in our part of the galaxy. Such compounds never entered our research. The council president raised a hand for silence. What matters is results. The Dominion has requested peace talks for the first time in 3 decades. A murmur ran through the hall. Peace after so long seemed impossible. Admiral Vex finally spoke. When these cadets began their research, I was informed. I chose to let them proceed. Against regulations, I suspected fresh eyes, especially from a Deathworld species, might see what we had missed. Jack stepped forward. Sir, we just wanted to help. Earth is new to the Federation. We wanted to prove our worth. And so you have, the president said. Your actions have saved countless lives. The screen changed to show a Dominion fleet in retreat. Without the swarm, their military advantage was gone. 30 years of stalemate had ended in days. The council debated briefly, then made their announcement. In recognition of your service, all disciplinary action is waived. Furthermore, Earth will be granted full Federation membership, accelerated from its provisional status. The hall erupted in cheers. The human cadets stood in shock as representatives from worlds they'd never visited came forward to thank them. Trill, Pyra, and Dorn pushed through the crowd to reach their human friends. You did it, Trill exclaimed, her wings fluttering with excitement. We all did it, Jack corrected, including their alien allies in a group hug that confused but pleased them. Later, as they walked through the academy grounds, everything felt different. Other cadets no longer avoided them or whispered about dangerous Deathworlders. Instead, they approached with respect and curiosity. What's it like on Earth? Asked a young Craxian cadet. Mostly peaceful now, Lisa explained. But our history is full of wars and challenges. Our planet tried to kill us for millions of years. That's why you think differently, the cadet realized. You see solutions we miss. Back in their quarters, the 4 humans received a message from Earth. Their home government had been informed of their achievement. They were heroes not just at the academy, but on their home planet as well. Did you ever think we'd end a galactic war during our first semester? Marcus asked with a laugh. Kira shook her head. All I wanted was to pass my exams. Jack looked out the window at the stars. This is just the beginning. Humans have a place here now. As night fell on the academy, news spread across the galaxy. The 30-year war was over, ended not by the most advanced weapons or tactics, but by 4 cadets from a death world called Earth. And throughout the galaxy, the term Deathworlder was no longer whispered in fear, but spoken with respect.